You sit there, rearranging digital folders, mindlessly scrolling through endless open tabs, just staring blankly at a blinking cursor. The internal monologue is brutal. We often interpret this paralysis as a failure of discipline, a narrative reinforced by a society that treats procrastination as a moral defect. Behavioral science suggests a different driver. The avoidance isn't directed at the work itself, but at the emotional discomfort and anxiety the work represents. When we subconsciously equate the quality of our output with our value as a human being, a task becomes an existential threat. Procrastination becomes a neurobiological mechanism for managing the immediate pain of potential judgment. To understand why a looming deadline makes us physically freeze, we have to look past the modern office and into the evolutionary biology of the mammalian brain. Deep in the primitive brainstem lies the dorsal raphe nucleus. This area activates when exposed to a prolonged, inescapable negative event. Detecting this, the nucleus floods the system with inhibitory signals, inducing passivity and a complete behavioral shutdown. Deadlines trigger this evolutionary response. The brain shuts down because it feels trapped by expectations it cannot currently satisfy. This mechanism explains why common productivity pressure often backfires. Rigid demands, telling ourselves we must be perfect or finish a project by noon, raise the stakes. That demanding language mimics the conditions of an inescapable threat, signaling the brainstem to maintain the panic response. Because the human mind can travel through time, we fixate on past mistakes and imagine future criticisms. This mental loop artificially prolongs the stress, draining the energy required to actually perform the task. We become stuck in a closed circuit of threat. Moving into a productive state requires shifting the brain into a state of perceived control. Treating our tasks like life or death survival tasks creates immediate resistance. The more we judge our work, the more likely the brain is to lock into its default mode of delay. The countermeasure to this freeze response lies in the advanced frontal lobe, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. This region activates when the brain detects agency or a way out of a stressful situation. When triggered, it sends a powerful suppressing signal downward, inhibiting the brainstem panic response. There is no specific structure in the brain that activates in response to a lack of control. There is only this top-down system, which actively suppresses fear the moment we perceive we have agency. For decades, experts assumed helplessness was a learned behavior. Imaging suggests the opposite. Helplessness is the biological default. Hope, the active expectation of control, must be learned. Overcoming the freeze response requires manually activating this hope circuit. Progress depends on engineering a sense of safety that allows the prefrontal cortex to override the brainstem. The first step in engineering that safety is shifting our internal dialogue away from compliance, the voice that says, "I have to finish this perfectly." By replacing compliance with commitment, choosing to start a rough draft, you signal agency to the prefrontal cortex. This disarms the threat response by framing the work as a choice. We can further reinforce this perceived control through the strategic use of guilt-free play. Scheduling leisure time, breaks, and exercise first proves to the nervous system that it is not trapped in an endless cycle of obligation. It establishes a bounded, safe space for work to happen. Creating a sense of worth that exists independently of your daily output acts as a biological shield against the anxiety that causes procrastination. Consider the single project you are avoiding the most right now. Commit to facing that task for just 15 minutes. This serves as a fear inoculation shot, building a tolerance for the initial discomfort. During this window, focus entirely on the act of starting. Abandon the pressure to finish and allow the draft to be rough and imperfect. When the 15 minutes end, stop and engage in an activity you enjoy. This reinforces the brain's safety pathways and rewards the specific effort of beginning. A moment of wonder, replacing the demand for perfection with the simple agency of starting, shifts the neurobiological weight. Each session builds positive momentum, strengthening the hope circuit and making it easier to face the next section without the need for delay.